So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ask About Altrusa. I am delighted to introduce tonight's guest, and I'm saying tonight, let's be honest, we are at 6 o'clock Central Time, but here's Leanne Milligan, past international president. What time is it with you, Leanne?
Just after 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, so not an early start, but...
But hey, we are now... What would you say? Transatlantic, global, spanning?
I like to think that you're talking to the future.
Very true.
Yeah, because you're actually talking to someone in tomorrow.
Back to the future. So anyway, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and chat with me. And I know you're kind of wondering what I've got up my sleeve, you know. So here we go. And when I say happy birthday, Leanne, from Altrusans everywhere, it was your birthday today, but yesterday?
Thursday, New Zealand, which, yeah, well, yeah.
That's the future, today and yesterday.
Yeah.
So, that's okay, you're lucky. I normally sing to my friends when it's their birthday. We won't do that today. You've escaped lightly. Just while we're talking here, we have Carolyn Robinson with us today. Hey, Carolyn. And we have Connie Corwin-Brown saying she's ready and watching with us. So it's nice to have you both here. Hopefully we'll have a few others joining us. But for now, let's get started. So my first question, Leanne, is an absolutely easy one. We just, for the benefit of people who maybe haven't met you, which, you know, it happens, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? Family, pets?
Okay. So I live in a little place called Te Awamutu. It's in the North Island of New Zealand. And I know it's a very hard place name to pronounce unless you're a Kiwi, but so I always say it's tea like a cup of tea, wa, moo like a cow, tu like you're going to somewhere. So that's how you pronounce it. I think every time I've done a district visit, the governor's worst thing is having to say where I'm from. And I've had lots of different pronunciations over the years, but that's roughly how you say it. And I've lived in Te Awamutu now for close on 25 years, but I originate from the east coast of the North Island in a place called Gisborne, which is known as the first city in the world to see the sun. And I come from a farming family, so we have a sheep and cattle farm there. I'm a chartered accountant and I work as a CFO at the moment for a company called Worldfront up in Auckland. So I'm commuting for the week. It's a 2-hour drive, stay up in Auckland and then commute back, just while I start looking for a house to move to. So Worldfront is an online retailer, you know, does fulfillment work for Amazon and eBay and things like that. So it's very different for me. It's a new role I've been in for just over 3 months, so really enjoying those challenges. But I have a very loyal cat that waits for me to come home every Friday night and then won't leave me alone after that. Yeah, so, and I managed to squeeze in all my catching up with friends and stuff on the weekends. So,
okay. Who introduced you to Altrusa?
So I was new to Te Awamutu, and I was working with the SPCA, and they introduced me to this lady called Maria Thompson, and she turned out to be forming a new club for Altrusa in Te Awamutu. She was the charter president. So Maria was the person who brought me along, and it was just a really great way to meet people in a town where I knew nobody. And so, yeah, and she kind of became like a second mum to me as well. So, yeah, we've been good friends ever since.
What age were you, if you don't mind me asking? When then? I'm not going to say no.
Okay, well, I might end up giving it away, but yeah, I was 25 then. So I was known affectionately for a long time as the baby of the club. I'm not the baby anymore. That was a long time ago, but yeah, really Altrusa just helped me become who I am now. I was probably someone who would have never spoken to people. I was very shy, and it really brought me out of my shell, helped me get to know people in my community, and build up my self-confidence and my leadership skills. So it was a great start, and I'm very, very grateful to Maria for actually inviting me along, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is how do you get involved with an organisation like Altrusa, and it's typically by invitation, and so we need our members to go out and invite other people, and even if you think they might not be interested, have a go, because you never know, you could be like Maria, who made a huge difference in my life just by being brave enough to ask me to come along.
So when Maria took you along to that first meeting, what would you say happened at that meeting that made you think, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Well, a couple of things. I liked the concept of the community service. That was definitely part of it. But what I liked is that everyone was so friendly. And I, as I say, I was shy. So to walk up into a room of people I didn't know was quite daunting. And I ended up talking to this really nice lady, and she's chatting away. Had no idea she was the Mayoress, but and it was just really friendly and open and welcoming. And I think, and then I didn't feel like I was a stranger. I had tried another group, and it was like, well, this is how you sit on your own in a group of people, and they talk to themselves, and then nobody makes an effort to sort of engage with you. And that was not my experience with Altrusa. We were just a bunch of down to earth people who wanted to make a difference in the community, and we had that commonality right from the beginning.
Which is important. This is true. So having taken that jump into becoming an Altrusan, there might be people watching who told us a bit about your background. Tell us a bit about your Altrusa journey.
Well, as I say, it started off a long time ago. I'm not saying the years now because you start to add them up. What happened is, a few months after joining, and it was a brand new club, so the person who was the treasurer had moved to another area, and so they asked me if I'd do treasurer, and I go, yeah, that's fine. Being an accountant, it's kind of a natural thing. And I remember us sitting around the board table at one of our first board meetings. We'll go, well, what do we do? We were all new, nobody knew anything. So that was a fond memory of those early days. But we soon worked it out, and I just worked my way through the ranks of leadership in my club, and became club president after what would have been about 5 years. And that was an interesting experience. I was terrified, I will admit. I was terrified for some unknown reason that everybody would leave the club. But I had a really great secretary, Verna, and I knew as long as she was sitting beside me, I was going to be okay. And that was that support that you get when you're on a leadership journey. If it's your first time at doing something, it can be nerve-wracking, but you had these other people in behind you supporting you. And I think that made taking on leadership roles an enjoyable experience and a learning experience. And so after I did the club president thing, I just worked my way through the ranks of district as well, and became district governor in due course. And all the while you're learning, because at no point do you know it all. And again, a great supportive board that I had. They got used to me. I'm probably quite a driven leader. I'm a list writer. I have things I want to achieve, and I have a lot of energy. So I tend to just get in there and make things happen, and drag people along with me, I think. And so once I did the district thing, I think, well, let's see what happens after that. So then I worked my way up through the international board. I did have the joy at one stage. I was on my club board, my district board, and the international board at once. So that was a challenging couple of years. But I think it primed me well for when I was international president, because that's when I learned what hard work was. But I also learned that I was still learning. And I had the support of a lot of past international presidents who had trained me as I'd worked my way up through the ranks, and who then supported me when I was doing the top job. And I will admit it's nice now to be an immediate past, and my workload has dropped off dramatically, which is kind of nice. But that's a little bit of an insight. And I think the really important thing is the journey is yours. You decide where and when you go to, when you stop. Not everybody wants to be the international president. Some people never want to be the club president, but that's okay. You do what you do, and everyone's very accepting of that.
Okay, thank you. I see we have Betty Abshire joining us. Hi, Betty. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to continue talking with Leanne Milligan here, past international president 2017 to 2019. So I obviously was lucky enough. I met you quite a few times, and as a result, yes, I kind of got primed on what questions I might want to ask you. So this one wasn't in the kind of cheat sheet I sent you. Tell us about the toys, Leanne.
Yeah, about my problem. I call it my problem. So I'm a collector, and Altrusa is partly to blame for this because through my journey in Altrusa, I have travelled a lot, and I have slept in all 50 states of the US, so which is a reasonable sort of achievement. And in my travels, I collect. And I collect what is known as plush animals or soft toys. Got just over 9,300 in the collection. So I've had to build 2 purpose-built buildings at the back of my house. That one's 56 square metres and the other one's 60 square metres. So they're quite large, all fully shelved out, covered in soft toys. So that's known as my problem. And I've got a very large collection. Of course, when I go to a state, I have to get toys. And that means people who travel with me understand my necessity of toy collecting. I've had more than one Altrusan sitting on a suitcase to get it zipped up. In fact, that's was almost a bit of a rite of passage on the international board, was that you had to go to Leanne's room at some stage and sit on a suitcase so she could sit around the outside. So yeah, it is a passion, and I have literally, well, I haven't got everything, because someone asked me would I ever stop, and I said, well, if they stop making toys and I run out of ones to collect, yeah, I suppose I'll stop. But I haven't yet.
How do you know? I mean, it must be difficult to remember. Now, did I buy that one? Maybe I just saw it the last time I was here.
I've got a pretty good memory. I get the occasional duplicate, but not very often. But I have a database. So if I'm online shopping, I check as I go to make sure I don't. And there's parts of my collection that are more difficult for me to remember than others. Birds in particular are quite challenging, but I have the database there to help me with that. But yeah, online shopping helps a lot. And then I have what are known as enablers. So an enabler is someone I can ship toys to and then wait till I come to America and collect them. And I have quite a large team of enablers who help me with that. And they just receive boxes and boxes and boxes of toys and think, how's she going to get those in a suitcase? They also pack very, very well. I think my record was I brought 320 odd home in one trip one time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I guess we better get back to the subject at hand here. And this one might be a difficult one too. What would you say has been your favourite club, district or international project?
This is my least favourite question because it's really hard to choose. So in my club, we have a fundraiser, a home and garden ramble, which has really been the basis of a lot of our projects because it funds it. We raise, give or take, a little bit about between $12,000 and $15,000 a year with that fundraiser, and we can use it in all sorts of different ways. But one of the smaller projects that we fund with that is our book awards, which is where we go to the local schools and they nominate students who are working really hard on their reading. Now, some students, it doesn't matter how hard they work, they will never be top of the class, so they're not going to get the awards for that. So this is really recognising people for the kids for their efforts. And then if they receive an award, they get to go to the local bookstore and pick the book, which is their prize. We put a certificate and then wrap it and have a special award ceremony, and they can bring all of their family, all of their whānau to a special party that we have. We have a guest speaker, and we have all kids' food, all the favourite things, the chips and the dips and the sausages and the sausage rolls. And it's amazing to see how food disappears so fast. But this is a chance for their whole family to celebrate. And I always remember one teacher wrote why she nominated this particular child. And it's funny, this is a long time ago, but I'll never forget it. She said, I've nominated the child, I can't remember what his name was, because he struggled with reading and never liked doing it. But he's worked really hard, and now he's the kid you'll see under the tree in the playground reading a book. And I thought, now that was what it was all about. And his whole, I can't remember how many of his family came and joined with him. I think they brought a van full of people to support him when he got his award. And I thought that's really making a difference, not only for that kid recognising his achievements, but his little brothers and sisters are all watching their big brother getting an award. What a lift that is for the whole family. So yeah, that's one of my, I had to pick one, and that was my favourite.
Well, no, you didn't have to pick one. I mean, if you've got another close favourite, you could sneak it in.
Okay. Well, the other favourite one I have from my club, and we've done all sorts of things with this over the years, is actually an international project that we do. We supported a Hagar home in Cambodia. And this home helped children who are rescued from the sex industry. And that's the horrific part of this is this home specialised in children aged between about 6 months and 12 years old. And so one can't even imagine what they had been through. But we established a library there. We made book bags for them. Because one of the things for these children is if you could teach them 2 languages, their own and English at the same time, what a platform for a lift in their career choices and things like that. And I always remember, getting the letters from the home and the photos. I think one time we fundraised and sent some money, and they took the kids to the beach for the day, which is something not everybody gets to do. So while they had probably one of the most horrific starts you can think of, we were making a difference in helping them forward in life. So that's another particular favourite of mine.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking about it all. And I'm not saying that your journey is over yet, because, Back to the Future and all that. If you told me earlier, you are the future. But thinking about it all, would you say there's one Altrusa moment that just is always standing out for you?
Oh, there's a lot of Altrusa moments. I've loved visiting with the clubs in America as I've travelled around. I've learnt that we share one particular thing in common, is that when you have a potluck dinner, that everyone always brings enough so that if nobody else brings anything, nobody's going home hungry. And that seems to transcend the waters. But, look, I've seen so many wonderful projects, and I love that. But I think I'd have to put a highlight was my installation as international president. And remember, I'm a planner and I like list writing, and I've got things pretty well organised. But the installation ceremony as well, we integrated the Maori culture. My district presented me with a korowai, which is a Maori feathered cape, and it's just beautiful. And that whole installation was very, very special. But then at the end, it turned out that the husbands of a lot of our members had got together in the bar beforehand, had a few drinks, and decided to do a haka, which is a Maori war dance, if you like. And they basically stood up and did a haka. I had no idea that was going to happen, and that made the whole event extra special. So yes, while I've enjoyed all the service side of things and seeing what clubs do around the world, that has to be one of my highlights.
I have to say, I was there. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. That was pretty awesome. I think I have one more question for you, and that would be, let's just imagine for a moment that watching this podcast could be today, could be some other time, because as we know, this podcast is being saved. It will be available forever and a day on my YouTube channel. And if you don't know the link, trust me, I will be broadcasting that separately. But if you could speak to someone who isn't yet an Altrusan, what would you tell them?
I hope they'll be like me and be brave and give it a try. I never regretted the decision to become an Altrusan, and I don't think they will either. I think it's a real opportunity to make a difference. And if you want to, make it matter that you've actually been on the planet at all, then I think Altrusa is a great vehicle for that. It's a vehicle for the service, the leadership, the friendship, and I just believe it's a decision that you would never regret. I think that we should try and invite more people and give more people that opportunity to be part of this great organisation. So I'd like everyone to be an Altrusan. I'm not biased at all, just everybody. But I also know that that's not always going to be the case. But I just think it's give it a go. You never know what will come out of it.
Absolutely. Well, I will let you get on with your Saturday morning as the rest of us here in the States go about our Friday evening. Thank you for joining us. I have no doubt I will be speaking to you again soon. But in the meantime, thanks a lot, Leanne. You have a good day.
Yeah, I will try. It's hard to say that when you're sitting in the evening, isn't it?
It just seems wrong somehow. And I was thinking, Te awa mutu.
Yes. No. Well done. Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, Leanne. So just a quick reminder that these podcasts are going to continue. Our next podcast is going to be with Denise Gilb, who described herself to me earlier this afternoon as just a member of Altrusa of Anaheim. Join us on Tuesday, June 23rd at 3 o'clock Central, that's 1 o'clock Pacific, to find out why she's not just a member. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.